Knowing more information about where the foods we eat every day come from around the world is vital to understanding the widening gap between food production and the purchase and consumption of food. Most consumers do not seem to care where the food they purchase comes from or how it actually gets to the grocery store, and even more would be surprised to find out how much more of our food comes from outside the country now as compared to even 30 years ago. For example, in 1970, 21% of fresh fruits consumed in the United States were imported from abroad, while in 2001, 39% of fruits were imported. As a result of this increase in our dependence on food imports and decrease in the number of small farms providing food for local areas, more energy is needed to transport the foods around the world. In order to help consumers better understand these problems, researchers and farmers came up with the concept of food miles. A food mile is the distance food travels from where it is grown or raised to where it is ultimately purchased by the consumer or end user. Basically, food miles can serve as a simple metaphor about energy usage in food production, and hopefully encourage consumers to be more conscious of where the foods they buy actually come from. In the Recipe Mapper project, we illustrate a similar concept as applied to recipes in an easy-to-use graphical interface. The idea is to enrich a normal recipe search engine with extra information about where various ingredients in each recipe are grown throughout the United States. By providing the user with an ingredient map based on their current location, we hope to raise awareness about local farms and allow the user to gain a better understanding of the concept of food miles. The goal is not necessarily to cause the user to select a recipe with ingredients that can be sourced closer to their location, but with the proper dataset, a system could be designed to allow a user to rate and select recipes based on location and transportation information. The Recipe Mapper interface is an intermediate step toward a more robust and automated location-based recipe finder. Recipe Mapper is implemented as a GreaseMonkey user script for the Firefox web browser. GreaseMonkey is a Firefox extension that allows you to customize the way web pages look and function with JavaScript code. GreaseMonkey can be installed by visiting greasespot.net in the Firefox web browser and clicking Install. To install the Recipe Mapper script, visit www.ins170.com/recipes. To start using Recipe Mapper, simply visit epicurious.com or allrecipes.com and search for a recipe. Click on a recipe in the search results and wait for the page to load. Once the page is fully loaded, you will see various foods in the ingredient list become highlighted, and shortly after, the advertisements on the right will disappear and be replaced by a miniature Google map with color-coded dots. The colored dots correspond to the highlight colors in the ingredients list. Each dot is clickable to find out the name of the farm and the food that is grown there. The concentric circles represent locations that are exactly 100, 250, and 500 miles away. There are also semi-transparent lines connecting the center point of the map to each farm. The color of the line represents the distance that farm is away from the user's location. The color scale goes from light green for closer farms to dark red for those which are furthest away. The script also allows the user to change their zip code without reloading the page. Simply click your mouse in the input text field above the map labeled zip code and begin to type. As you type, a box will pop up with zip code suggestions based on what you are typing. Once you have selected a zip code, click Go and the map will reload. Recipe Mapper also functions with allrecipes.com, another popular recipe search engine. Simply go to allrecipes.com and search for a recipe. The map will appear in the right-hand column in place of the advertisement, similar to the way it works on epicurious.com. Farm location data has been graciously provided by localharvest.org, a database of farms, CSAs, grocery stores, farmers markets, and co-ops. The database currently has around 6,000 farms throughout the United States and 250 different foods. This is by no means an exhaustive database, but it does provide a good starting point to demonstrate the possibilities of such data.